Hello, welcome back to the Anime Deep Dive podcast. Today's gonna be a bit of a different episode. I called it the Comic Book Club. But what we're doing is we're gonna be covering two volumes from Marvel's recent-ish Ultimate Universe, and then also two volumes from the Absolute Universe coming from DC last year. Specifically, we're covering Volume 1 of the Ultimates by Dennis Campos, the writer. I don't know how to say that last name. I can butcher these.
Frigiri.
It's Hickman for the writer of Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the second one we're going over, and then Chiquetto for the artist. We got Scott Snyder for Absolute Batman and Nick Dragotta, as well as Frank Martin. And then for Absolute Wonder Woman, we got Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, Matea de Luis, and then Jordi Belair. Just want to shout out the writers and the artists there because, I think artists get overshadowed a lot in comics.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing we're going to be doing is talking about the two volumes and then kind of comparing, Marvel's new Ultimate Universe versus the Absolute Universe because there's actually a lot of similarities between the two, besides them just being spin-off versions of their main universes.
Absolutely. What I did want to talk about briefly, though, is our plans. So, as you can tell, there's not a third person speaking.
Oh, yeah. I'm Josh.
Yeah.
I'm hosting this episode. Michael's co-host for this one. We don't have our third co-host, Nate. He's just very busy this semester.
Yeah.
We're seniors at this point, so it's taken a while.
Yeah. This is... the next year is going to be very interesting and weird because we will have back-to-back graduations. So our plans, we had a lot of stuff recorded where we were in our video era that we want to re-record. So we're going to try to get Nate back for like Studio Ghibli, as well as potentially getting him back to re-record Jujutsu Kaisen because we lost the file. A lot of things happen when you, primarily me, not even primarily me, it's just me, does not edit for an entire year.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't edit either, but I knew nothing. I just had to learn to kind of get caught up.
I had the littlest of grasp over editing, and I just was not confident. So, this semester is going to be a little bit of new stuff, as well as re-recording some of our older things, because... Excuse me, the JJK and the Studio Ghibli videos were really good, and they are popular still.
Yeah.
At this point,
especially with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3
right.
announced for January.
Yes. As well as the new short spinoff that just got announced for JJK.
That's also true, yeah.
Yeah. And then Studio Ghibli will be forevermore, like it will never end.
Yeah, no, that's literally timeless.
Yeah, he will probably make 3 more movies and then retire and then make 3 more and then maybe he will die. He is an old man, but yeah. So look forward to that new season. We decided to go by seasons just because of how wide the gaps were of filming content.
But expect more episodes.
Yeah,
a bit more consistency this semester. We're also looking at covering Kaiju number 8 and some other stuff. So It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll get into the books. What do you want to start out with?
Let's go with Absolute Batman.
Okay.
Because that's kind of, along with Marvel Rivals, the launch of Absolute Batman is one of the things that kind of got me back into comics specifically.
Yeah.
And, I really enjoyed the book.
I have to agree. Mind you, I've not read comics in a little bit. I was reading God Wars, Miles Morales of Spider-Man.
I remember seeing you look at that at Inner Geek.
As well as the thing that kind of, over the summer, I almost finished the miniseries for Zatanna. Zatanna's All In. So when I got into Absolute Batman, it was the first book I read. It felt like the longest. I don't know why. They're probably the same... size, Wonder Woman and Batman.
Wonder Woman was actually a bit longer.
What?
It's 7 issues versus Absolute Batman is 6 issues.
Huh. Well, it didn't feel like it. It felt Wonder Woman felt quicker to me. So what did you like about Absolute Batman?
I mean, not to like gas it up too much, but I feel like the setting is very interesting. The changes to the character I like. He's like an absolute unit, which is pretty funny. Just seeing how beefy he is. But it works in the fights. It works because in the Absolute Universe, the entire premise is like you're taking these like classic heroes and like removing one kind of like big advantage they had. Like a key pillar of like who they're like what sets them up to be a superhero later on.
Right.
Batman, he doesn't have his fortune. He's a middle class like engineer. So seeing how that kind of changes how he operates as Batman is very interesting. He does like everything on the suit is like for utility. Like his horns, he pulls them out, and they're knives. The symbol turns into an like on his chest. He can turn it into an axe. Like his cape is really interesting. Like almost like works like bat wings with like some engineering stuff he constructed. I didn't fully understand how it worked, but I think it's just, some of it's just kind of comic book nonsense.
It was really interesting because some bats are able they really just walk on their hands. And so was that for the cape necessarily, or was that just a thing that came out of the suit?
So the whole thing, like with the cape and like that bridge he was building as a kid, kind of came from that,
right?
Like, the structure of the wings and how they
Yeah.
fold and stuff.
Which is so funny to me because the thing is, the story was a little humorous too, because you have basically this 300-pound, at least,
Yeah.
Batman, and the only reason he's able to do the that sidekick, you had the villain, you had a bad guy in the back and a bad guy in the front. He was able to, kick, not because he was flexible, but because he was able to pin the I guess the wings, the cape down, and stretch just enough to do that.
I don't specifically remember that panel, but
Oh my
there
God,
was
so
a lot
crazy.
of really funny. One of the funniest panels to me is like it's near the end. He's like on Black Mask's yacht. And like because in the story there's like these, I don't know exactly how it works, but like kind of like gene mutation with like animals being mixed with humans and stuff.
Right.
But like, there was this kid that was kind of like had like I guess like squid or octopus, but they're purple. And like Batman was fighting because there was like a bigger one that was like kind of like an enforcer.
Yeah.
But Batman's fighting and grabs like the one that looks like a kid. It's like you can't fight me. I mean, he just punts them off the boat.
Yes, I remember that. So, what is also interesting that I kind of was stuck around, and I just had to keep like looking, like I would flip back on pages. I think that's why Batman took longer for me too. It was so much information. Was that Batman's gallery of rogues? He grows up with at least a tenth of them. Like he grows up with Killer Croc.
Waylon.
Yeah, Waylon. He grows up with Harvey, which that one was the least surprising to me because, in most continuations, they knew each other pretty young.
Yeah.
We're talking like first year Batman, would have already knew Harvey Dent.
Yeah, Harvey Dent has always been like a former ally of Batman.
Right. And for those that are not, huge Batman, Harvey Dent is Two-Face. Edward Nygma, Riddler. And he grows up with Selena Kyle. We don't really see her except for flashbacks.
Yeah, because she's off
in Egypt
doing whatever.
Yeah. And then you have a person named Ozzy, who's has to be the Joker.
No.
No?
That's gonna be Oswald Cobblepot. Penguin.
Oh, I completely missed that.
The Joker of the Absolute Universe is a bit different, where he's like the serious head honcho, and like they call him the Joker because he doesn't even laugh.
I saw that, and he looks similar to Ozzy. I think I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot the Penguin's first name because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the Joker because I remember in the Killing Joke in the flashback, wasn't his name Oswald? I was wrong. I don't really like his design then because you can't blame me for not noticing him because like Penguin's always been like big.
Yeah, I feel like
they should have made him like chubby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it when or if they become their like rogues
Mhm.
identities, villainous identities, they're probably gonna have pretty serious redesigns because
Mhm.
they're all just kind of dudes. You know, they just look like ordinary people, which I think is probably the point. This Batman is a lot more grounded and like physically,
Mhm.
as far as like, he doesn't have a bat wing and these
Right.
crazy batarangs and stuff. But also like a lot more grounded character wise as well. He's like well adjusted, has a circle of friends he hangs out with every week. His mom is still around. One of the things I really appreciate about it is like because everyone knows Batman's origin story, they're kind of intentionally playing with you, especially when the party animals they put out their masks and set up the open bounties in Gotham. Because they did that in response, basically as retaliation to Batman fighting against them.
Right.
Um, and they're kind of baiting you, and you're like, oh, his mom's gonna die, and then
I was
she doesn't,
baited.
and I was like, okay, good, because like the Absolute Universe is definitely a lot more dark, a lot more gritty,
Mhm.
but they're not falling too far into like the hopelessness and everything sucks. Like they're
Yeah.
he can still save people, and he still makes a difference.
Right. And that's the thing too. I did get baited. I was like, oh, okay, maybe Martha will die. And the thing is that it seems like for this universe, it wasn't required, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The loss of his father, and him basically getting trapped in the Batcave, was enough.
Yeah.
I also thought it was really interesting that they changed everything. Like, it was really interesting to see Thomas Wayne as a teacher.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of like all the changes. I like it works into his difference kind of in class in his story because Thomas Wayne didn't become a doctor and get loads and loads of money and stuff.
Right.
He became a teacher and they kind of just lived in a more ordinary life.
Yeah.
Also, the other character we haven't addressed yet, Alfred Pennyworth, he's very different in this story.
Oh man, it was really interesting because I was like, well, he had a butler. Where's the butler? He never had a butler. I realized like at the end of the story. It was really nice to see Alfred Pennyworth in his actual origin backstory because Alfred Pennyworth has always been former military.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it's like former like MI6 or something. I think that's like
Yeah.
UK,
Right.
Like I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's like, special forces or something like that.
Yeah, no, MI6 that gave me a flashback to Call of Duty because the main character of the Modern Warfare series was MI6 if I remember correctly, and he was British. So slightly irrelevant, but that clicked in my head.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a thing. If I could remember his name, but it was so interesting to see that. To see like, because I think that's what everybody's wanted. They had a lot of stories about like the Injustice pill that Alfred Pennyworth took.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. I've read through the Injustice line. It is pretty funny when he beats the crap out of Superman.
Right. But the thing, but like we get to actually see that in motion.
Yeah, it's kind of like Prime Alfred.
Yeah, we get to see Prime, and it's funny because he's not Prime Alfred. Alfred's still in his 60s.
Yeah.
In this late 50s to mid to late 60s.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to see him come like together and basically, a lot of the story for the first 3 volumes is like in his narrative, Alfred's narrative. And I think that's really interesting. I think that's really good writing.
I think it's because not to get too off topic, but also Caped Crusader, the kind of the more modernized Batman cartoon that Warner Brothers sold to Prime.
Yeah.
Came out last year, I believe. Also kind of had a similar storytelling perspective where most episodes followed a different character
Yeah.
and kind of how Batman operated in the background.
Right.
It's not like you shouldn't do it all the time, but it's a very interesting lens to see Batman in.
Right.
Like how he affects the other people in the world, how they see him.
Yes, exactly.
Also, like I don't know if it was confirmed in the book or not. I don't remember, but like I'm like Alfred's got to be working for the League or something,
The League.
League of Shadows or Assassins,
Oh.
depending on the continuity. I feel like that's who he's working for because we don't really know.
Right.
But it would make the most sense to me.
I honestly am tempted to pick up the second volume.
Yeah, that's the second volume won't be until February.
but like I can wait.
I'm 100% picking it up.
Yeah, especially because it was also the art's really really nice. I also like that they for volumes that are kind of specifically narrated towards backstories, they picked a different artist. I noticed they did that in Wonder Woman as well. I don't know. It was a really good book. I'm really interested that you have all those characters that may or may not become villains. I would like it if they all did not become villains.
I feel like they're all probably going to become villains.
And that's sad because they're all really likable characters when they're normal guys.
It's probably just, there is going to be some tragedy.
Yeah. And there's, consequences happen and you don't always expect them. His mother's going to live. Somebody's going to die in the second
He
volume.
made a very strong stance against the party animals.
Yeah.
And they didn't like that. So at the very end of the book, we see the villain of probably the next saga or arc.
Yes, Bane.
But let's swap to the next book.
What do you rate this book real quick?
I would give it probably like an 8.5.
I would give this the fact that you went low because I was gonna say 9. I'm in an 8.5 like 9 range.
Okay. I think issue 1 is definitely the best issue. If it kind of had stayed around there, it would be higher. But I still enjoyed the later issues, but I didn't enjoy them quite as much as I enjoyed issue 1.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Wonder Woman next?
Yep, absolute Wonder Woman. This is by far my favorite out of the bunch. It did nothing but impress me.
I am not a Wonder Woman fan. Let's put that in the books. I read it last, specifically not to get tired with the Absolute Universe. And I felt like I needed to read Ultimates and Spider-Man back to back when I'll explain that when we get to it. Absolute Wonder Woman was a joy to read. Now, obviously most Wonder Woman comics are going to have mythology to it. I've just not read a single Wonder Woman comic book. I think the movie completely deterred me from wanting to read anything Wonder Woman related, and that's not fair.
I think the first movie was pretty good.
And I couldn't get.
I enjoyed it. But I've had a similar thing of where if you're a comic book fan, you're gonna really not like this. But my main exposure to Wonder Woman in comics is Injustice, which is, I won't say a complete. It is, if you're trying to think about it as a Wonder Woman story, it's a complete mischaracterization. But the Injustice universe is inherently different because a lot of characters are different from their mainline counterparts. I'm a bit of an Injustice defender, but as far as you look at Wonder Woman, it's completely off.
Right.
It's a terrible adaptation of the character.
Yeah.
So that's been my main exposure to her.
So, in the Absolute Universe, Wonder Woman is and is not an Amazonian. And what I mean by that is that she is the last Amazon but wasn't raised on Themyscira.
Yeah, she's literally raised in Hades.
Yeah, in the underworld.
Cersei.
Yes. She was gifted. She was thrown at Cersei by Apollo. And because the Amazonians were punished by Zeus. Yeah. And her being taken was a punishment to them. I don't even know if they're really alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Themyscira was raised.
Yeah.
Just burnt to the ground.
Yeah. But there's some situations where I don't know if Wonder Woman is calling certain individuals sister intentionally or just by. There's a couple the tiger she called sister. She called another person sister, and I wasn't sure if Zeus cursed them or killed them, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. It might just kind of be a kinship between immortals and stuff.
Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because that's the thing, they never really spoke on it, but I was just this happened 3 times.
It'll probably get delved into later.
Yeah. So, basically, Wonder Woman is in hell. She's being raised by Cersei. And has quite a lot of interactions with Kate, the goddess of magic. Am I pronouncing the name wrong?
What name did you say?
Kate?
Kate?
Kate, yeah. Katie?
Hecate?
Hecate. whatever.
I don't know
I'll
if that's
edit
how
it
you
out.
actually say it, but I was so confused for a second.
Hecate, yeah, it
I
is
thought I
Hecate.
heard Kate, and I was like, what is he
Kate
talking
Kane,
about?
Batgirl. She has a lot of interactions with her. She learns how to use like witchcraft, which I think is the craziest thing. I did not expect that. And so
I mean, Cersei also just taught her a lot.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's Cersei was the one teaching her the witchcraft.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because from what I'm aware of, Cersei's typically a villain. So they're doing a similar thing of putting the villains like in their personal lives. I don't think Cersei's going to become an antagonist in this series.
No,
Um,
I would be very surprised.
I'd probably stop reading if they did that.
Yeah.
But this book really, really impressed me. The art is gorgeous. The issue 1 is mainly just backstory, and it feels so personal.
Yeah.
Like the writing, it focuses even a lot on Cersei. And like there's something of like there's a line in there of like, you know, raising a child, it's like how you grow to love it and stuff. And seeing that relationship build was like so sweet.
Yes. And a lot of it too is that Cersei still had her personality too, of like a lot of her motivations were cruel and a little selfish in a sense where Cersei begins to craft weapons for Diana,